Okay, so we are going to continue from where we left, organizing function, because I didn't want us losing time. So we already talked about delayering. And we said that it is reducing the number of levels of management in the hierarchy. You remember that I did a good drawing. I believe you remember that one. So we're going to continue and talk about horizontal differentiation. So on horizontal differentiation, this entails, so horizontal, the other one was delayering was like this. So this one is horizontal. And so instead of having one big thing, we now want to reduce this one into small portions or departments and divisions. So departmentation is the process of breaking down the organization into smaller administrative units known as departments. So yeah, that is just that. These are things that you know, but you need to have these to put it in wording. So the basis of departmentation, we have one is functional departmentation by product, by region, by customer, by process or matrix structure, and we're going to go over all of them. So the first one is functional departmentation, and it involves first identifying the functional activities of the entity and then organizing each functional activity as a separate department. So this one is done mostly in any organization. So we have by function. So we have employees. So let's say we have employee 1 does work in ICT. Employee 2 does work in marketing. Employee 3 does work in sales. Employee 4 is an engineer. So instead of having them together, you just have functional departments that do each and every function. So this will be ICT, this will be sales, this will be marketing, this will be engineering, as I have used our example. So functional activities, they are those basic activities whose performance is vital for the survival of the farm. So we always use Safaricom as an example. So for Safaricom, you need ICT, you need sales, you need marketing, you need engineering for their technical part. So I think that one is very clear. So some of the advantages of using the functional structure as your basis for departmentation is one, it will eliminate duplication of efforts and facilities, making it cheaper than other structures. So if you have ICT, then deal with ICT. Someone in sales, deal with sales. So you don't have that duplication of efforts. So the one in ICT is also doing sales, things like that. It enhances specialization. If you're in ICT, you will focus on our networking, our everything, things like that. Then synergistic benefits are enjoyed. Synergy is whereby we say 1 + 1 is not equal to 2. So if ICT person helps the person in sales, the effort will lead to very tremendous results. That is what we call synergy, where if you combine the effort of one thing with the effort of another, you get tremendous results. Then it contributes to organizational simplicity. You're able to understand ICT has this number of staff, things like that. Then it is more logical since similar activities are grouped together. That one is clear. And then each basic activity is given due attention. Then what are some of the disadvantages? Some of the disadvantages is that failure in one department can paralyze the whole system. So if ICT have a problem with internet, because it is one department that are connected, sales will go down, marketing will go down. They might also affect engineering. Then due to high degree of interdependence between departments, interdepartmental conflicts are high. So you get that maybe ICT guys will say, guys in sales, hawajui, they are always calling us kushughulikia mambo ya computer, sijui mnatutumia sana, things like that. So interdepartmental conflicts become very high because then functionally they are interconnected. Then we have difficulties in aligning priorities across the enterprise. Then the organizational members lack a broader view of the entity. So since you are confined in ICT, hata hujui like where your organization is heading, you just wake up, fix ICT issues. Mtu akikuita anataka kufix your computer, you do that. So you lose the broader picture. Then difficulties in developing general managers, because then each manager of ICT focused on ICT, sales focused on sales. So having a general manager who now is above like everyone becomes very, very difficult, because this ICT guy has already specialized in ICT. So kumtoa hapo then umfanye general manager, very difficult. Then delayed decisions because of each department having its own management. And then difficulties in embedding and managing change across departments. I think that one is clear. Then another thing that you have is product departmentation. So you can department based on, another basis is product. So this is whereby each major product has its own separate department. So still our example, Safaricom. So we have product 1, M-Pesa. Product 2, M-Shwari. Product 3, Fuliza. So you have each product, each major product having its own department. Some of the advantages will be better quality goods and services. So each department will ensure that their product is well functioning. So then failure in one department will not affect the other areas. So there sometimes you find unasikia kuna shida ya M-Shwari. M-Shwari is not working between this time and this time because of system maintenance, blah, blah, blah. But the other departments are working because products are haziko interconnected. Then it is easy to identify the loss-making products in the portfolio. If these three were working as one, then in the end, we have a loss of 1 million. We won't know what is going on. But if we have M-Pesa made a profit of 500,000, this is just an example. Then Fuliza, people have not paid, so they have a loss of 1 million. Then our M-Shwari, people have been saving, so they have a profit of 2 million. Then in the end, we can be able to know which department is not performing. Then it is that one we've already talked about. Then it encourages interdepartmental competition. That one is, it's very healthy. So M-Shwari wanataka could be better than M-Pesa, things like that. Then it is easy to develop general managers. Then there are fewer conflicts because they are not, everyone is doing their own thing. And then faster decision making. So we want to reduce transaction costs of the M-Pesa. We won't have to consult M-Shwari and Fuliza guys. We just do our thing. Then for the disadvantages, we have duplication of efforts and facilities, hence expensive. So kuna vitu zenye like M-Pesa and M-Shwari, since they are one thing, you can do them as one thing. But the fact that they are two different departments, kuna mtu atakuwa na deal na the same thing. Like you have two people who could have been replaced by one person. Then synergy is lost. You remember we said that this one, in terms of functionality, we're enhancing synergy. Here we are losing it because kila mtu ana work on their own. Then may lead to underutilization of the corporate resources. Then it is impractical when the firm has many products in their product portfolio. If you have 3 products, then you can have 3 departments. But let's check an example of like Kapa Oil refineries. They have wakona sabuni, wakona mafuta. They have a lot of things. So for them, they cannot have each product becoming its own department. Then difficulties may arise in building a consistent corporate image. So there's a way that you want to present yourself as a company, but you find that each product will want to present itself differently. Now it might become a problem. Then we talk about regional departmentation. So this one is just like equal to region, a region having its own department. So we can have region A, Nairobi region, Thika region, Kiambu, things like that, depending on geographical location. So the thing to note in terms of this departmentation is first understanding the basis. So functionality, we are departmenting based on the function. Product based on the product. Region based on geographical location. So some of the advantages, staff maintenance costs are minimized. There is better customer service because the staff is conversant with the local needs. So if I am in Nyeri or in Thika and I am a person from Thika, then I've interacted with the Thika people. I know what they need at that point. Then saving in terms of freight and other charges. So a good example of this will be a bank. We have different branches. So we have Equity Kiambu, Equity Nairobi, and you'll find that some of the products in Equity Nairobi, they are not in Equity Kiambu, or some of the products in Equity Kiambu. Let me give you a practical example, like KCB. I know KCB. I've interacted with KCB Nyeri, and there's a product they had that was for farmers because guys, they are farmers. And if you look for that product in Nairobi, it is not there. Why? Because the staff are conversant with the local needs. So there is better customer service. I hope that one is very clear. Then it facilitates expansion of business in the different regions. There is better coordination of activities, and it is easy to develop general managers. So far, the only basis that has a problem with that makes it difficult to develop general managers need this one, the functionality one. Then disadvantages, synergy is lost. So differentiate them like that as well. So here, this one, synergy is gained, product, and now region, synergy is lost because each department is separate. Then establishing and maintaining a branch is expensive because each branch is very independent, and then the head office may lose, that was supposed to be may lose control over some of the branches. Some branches may end up becoming too independent, such that they are making their own decisions. Too independently. Then the next one is process departmentation. So this is where the product process is broken down into discrete stages, and then each stage is made into a department. So the thing with the departmentation is sometimes it also depends on what industry are you in. So if you are like, so this process departmentation is especially useful in like a manufacturing company, because then they'll do processing, assembling, quality control, and packaging. Let's say you're making soap. So you have processing, assembly, quality control, and packaging. You make them into departments. So advantages, experts can be appointed at each stage. So kuna watu industrial chemists, they are very good at processing. Then we have analytical chemists, they are so good at quality control. So you can have experts in each stage. Then economical in terms of repairs and maintenance. Then it facilitates the use of heavy and costly equipment in an efficient manner. I think that one is clear. Then it follows the principles of specialization. Specialization is very important. In leadership and management, we always want to encourage specialization, but pia kuna hizo tulisema sometimes specialization ina bring about monotony. We already talked about that, but always, most of the time, specialization is a good thing. And then it is suitable for the organization. Then disadvantages, comparison of the different departments is difficult because then each person is doing their own thing. So you cannot really compare. You know, like for this one, we can compare. Where wanna make this money, where wanna make this one, why are you losing money? But for products, because it's a process, it's very difficult to compare. Then there are coordination problems. Unajua inafaa, because it's a process, huyu wa processing akienda chini anaharibu the whole thing. Huyu wa assembly pia chini, quality control chini, because of maybe the units that they are producing. Then there is little scope for the managers. And then interdepartmental conflicts are likely to be high. Yes. So if you ask assembly, what is mbona nini ziko chini, the amount you're producing iko chini, they say no, it's the processing guys. Quality control naulizwa, why are you whatever quality inaenda chini? No, it's this. It becomes a big problem. Then we have customer departmentation. So this is whereby you create a department for each customer that you're serving. So you can have industrial customer, institutional customer, reseller. So it's like this one we will use banks. They have normal tellers for individual customers. Then you have a corporate section for the corporate. We have premium for people who have 100,000 and above. Vitu kama hizo. So for the advantages, doesn't have many because it's not a thing that is done mostly. That you are able to give full attention to the major customer groups and help the entity to earn goodwill. So if at all bank yetu iko na a corporate section, na a certain organization, they notice that when they send their representative there, anapeangwa this kind of special attention, in a create goodwill. We are not losing that customer for sure. Then for the demerits, there's underutilization of resources and facilities in some department. Like now, we said that in Kenya, the number of people who have 500,000 and above in the bank ni very limited. I can't remember the number, but figures zimetokea juzi na ni kidogo sana. So if you have a department in the bank, you've departmentalized based on customers, and you say this department will deal with guys who have 500,000 and above. How what they can serve 2 people in a day. Hiyo ni underutilization of resources. And then there may be duplication of facilities. That one we've already talked about it. So then you have the matrix structure. So the matrix structure, it is a hybrid of the functional and a product or project structure. It is known as a two-boss structure, as workers at the intersection of authority end up reporting to 2 bosses. So there's a table over there. Try to go over it, but when I come next, I will go back nitapitia tena that matrix structure, but just know that you're combining 2. So you're departmentalizing, but you're combining maybe a function and a product, a function and a project, things like that. Then we have some advantages of the matrix structure. So resources are utilized efficiently, that is one. The firm enjoys the dual benefits of product and functional, because you said they are combining. So matrix ni kama, now instead of having these 2, una have these 2 as one department, hivyo. Then we have different specialists assist in solving complex problems with maximum efficiency. Then it allows for flexibility, as each project is assigned only to the number of people it needs. So if a project needs 4 people, you will give 4 people in enhance efficiency and flexibility. And it stimulates and enhances interdisciplinary cooperation. So we don't want conflict. So you've seen most of these departmental bases, they're bringing about that departmental competition and conflict. Okay, competition is good, like this one in terms of product, but now interdepartmental conflict is the problem that we are avoiding. Now matrix structure enables us to eliminate that one. Then we go on to disadvantages of matrix structure. So one of them is that it violates the principle of unity of command. We talked about these principles, and one of them was unity of command. And unity of command means an employee should answer to one person. And for matrix, we have said these are 2 boss structures, since workers at the intersection will end up reporting to two bosses. So that is a disadvantage. Then it is difficult to design and implement. These two are easy, like function, you'll know each function and make a department, product, same thing. But matrix, it's kind of complicated. Then it also leads to complex relationships, because we have one worker having two managers, complex, who do I answer to? Huyu akiniambia hivi na huyu aniambia hivi, who is ahead of the other? Then it may be expensive due to its complexity, and then divided loyalty. I'll become more loyal to these managers compared to this one. And then confusion on where the final responsibility rests. So if at all two people gave me one task, that task ended up becoming a disadvantage to the organization who holds the responsibility. So I think that one is that on departmentation. Then now we move on to authority and responsibility. So we'll start by defining those two terms. So authority is the right to give orders and exact obedience. So authority, if you have authority in an organization, it means naweza ambia employee, wacha kenye unafanya, fanya hivi, shughulikia huyu kwanza, wachana na huyo. Then power is the ability to exert influence on it, on a person, object, or situation. So basically, if you have power, you exercise authority. Then responsibility is the obligation placed on a person who occupies a given position. I think that one is clear. Then delegation is where you give authority to your junior. So I can't find a good example. Then accountability is to give an explanation to your superiors for failure to fulfill your responsibility. So these things, the thing is, they are related. So authority is your right to exercise what? Power. So basically ni related. So let me get a good example that will make it easy, because easy vitu sometimes they look easy but maybe they are not. Let me try to get an example that will help you understand. Let me use an example. So I'm supposed to, let's say I am a what? Nauza, I am a hawker. I am a hawker out here. Now, so if I am a hawker, mtu mwenye akona authority ya kuni arrest, akona the right to enforce law and order, ni polisi. You know, they have that right. They can just come and arrest me. So they have authority because they have that right, and they have the power as well to be able to come and arrest me. Then comes in Kanjo. I don't know if they have the authority, but let's assume they don't. So wao wanafaa kukuja collect tax, things like that. But wao hawawezi ni arrest. So because it is Kenya and you know we are like banana state in a way, this Kanjo will arrest me. Juu akona power, akona gari, akona nini. But in real sense, they don't have the right. So they have the power to arrest, but they lack the authority. That one I've created it on the go. That example, I hope it has made it clear. If it has not, you will tell me when we meet. But that is basically the difference between authority and power. Then we have sources of managerial power. So the first one is legitimate power. And this is power that is derived from the position that one occupies. So if I am CEO, I get powers of CEO. If I'm manager, I get powers of manager. Then reward power. So reward power is the power that is derived from the ability of the influencer to reward the influencee for compliance. So if at all, if at all I asked you to work overtime, then reward power is nitakupea overtime money, nitakulipa overtime. And this power is appropriate where the manager intends to encourage positive competition among the employees. So kama nilikuwa na kazi, we are supposed to leave the office at 5, then I gave in some work that was supposed to be completed at 7. Nikilipana overtime, that is reward power. Yenye nataka ku encourage that sort of behavior. Then there is coercive power. Coercive power is where you intimidate instead of rewarding. So reward power and coercive power is like opposites. Reward power, you encourage people by rewarding them. So when you alika overtime, you pay them extra. Coercive is lazima kila mtu akae. You use brutal force. And then referent power, this is the power that is based on the followers' identification with leaders. So sometimes you find that there are some, kuna watu wenye, I don't know, you'll check maybe even in your office, there's that person whom, if they are asked to do something by a specific person, hawezi kata ombi that person, because they identify with them. Maybe they admire how they do their work. Kama hizo, they want to be like them. That one is what we call referentive. So because they want to be associated with that person. So I want to be associated with that manager. Nataka kuwa hata ananipea kazi, tuongee na yeye. Then you have expert power, technical power. This is power that is, so if you are in charge, you are the, kwa hiyo organization, wewe ndio tuko na ICT skills, that knowledge of having that, the ability to have that knowledge gives you that authority. So when it comes to ICT, hakuna, ukianza kuongea mambo ya ICT, even if you're not the ICT chair, everyone just shuts up because you have that expert authority or expert power. Then charismatic power. So this power that is gotten by having such abilities like speaking abilities. Maybe hii hata inatokeanga by, it just comes up in the organization. Kuna mtu mwenye akianza tu kuongea hivi, maybe you are having a discussion of, no, mi siwezi fanya hivi, siwezi fanya hivi, then someone just starts talking like, but you know guys, we can do this and this, just by their charisma. Things just, it gives them that power. And then association power, this is power that is derived from associating with someone who has power. So for example, for our case, we have these cronies who work with the president. So someone is like a nobody, but because they have close association with the president, they get that association power. And then we have, I hope that one is clear. We move on to delegation. And the delegation is the process by which a person with authority confers part of that authority to his juniors to act in certain defined manners. So you're a manager. So you're a manager and you decide you will not be there for tomorrow. So you tell someone, one of your juniors, by the way, kesho, you're the one in charge. So that one is delegation. You have let them, you have given your powers to someone. So there are some of these principles. I think we had already talked about them. I think this one we should talk about them when I am there so that tuzipitie zote, but you can go over them and you remind me when we meet next that this one has not yet been touched because these principles are very, very important. But kuna zenye tumeongelelea kama principles of unity of command, principle of delegation. You know what, let me just go over them. In case you don't get it well, utaniuliza when we meet. So the first one is principle of functional definition. And we say that the more a person or a department has clear definition of activities to be undertaken, organization, authority delegated, and authority and informational relationship with other positions understood, the more adequately the individual responsibility can contribute towards accomplishing enterprise objectives. So what that means, there's some bit of typos in that, but what that means is that if as the ICT department, we know what we are supposed to do, so let's say we have manager, and then we have this person A, person B, and person C. A is in charge of networking, B is in charge of Wi-Fi, C is in charge of hardware. So if the manager decides to delegate A, hayuko leo, so a delegate A, he will know B nafaa kuangalia kazi yake ni Wi-Fi, C kazi yake ni hardware. So he will be able to know what are we contributing, what is each person contributing to the organization. That means each function has been defined. That is principle of functional definition. Each function of everybody has been defined. Then principle of unity of command. So that one we had already talked about it. Each subordinate should have one single superior. Then principle of delegation by results expected. So delegation of authority should be on the basis of results expected. So you delegate based on the authority expected. Kama ni manager, how delegate to randomly, you are in charge. Unasema you are in charge of tomorrow, Wi-Fi inafaa kukuwa imetengenezwa, hardware should be replaced, things like that. Then principle of absoluteness of the responsibility. The superior remains answerable for the actions of his subordinates. If you delegate, still you, the one who has delegated, you're still the responsible party. Then we have principle of parity of authority and responsibility. The responsibility should bear a logical relationship with authority delegated. So if at all you need this person A to give you results that the whole department, then you have to delegate responsibility ya everyone. Huwezi mwambia hauko in charge of C, but then you expect him to tell you how C performed. So that is what that point means, that the results that should be expected should be coherent with the amount of authority that you have been given. Then authority level of principle, they say that maintenance of intended delegation requires that decisions within the authority competence of individuals be made by them and not referred upward in the organizational structure. So if you have delegated to A, aweze kumake decisions. Kama umedelegate everything. They should not start looking upwards for decisions. Then the scalar principle, it refers to the chain of command relationship from superior to subordinates throughout the organization. The ultimate authority must rest somewhere. So there is some noise that is coming from masaa imefika ya watu wana praise. So we will end there, but go over importance of delegation and barriers. Tutazipitia juju when I come back. And then guidelines to effective delegation na hiyo centralization. So centralization and decentralization, just as an overview, centralization here, you have a unit of command. Mtu mmoja ndiye ana make decisions. Decentralization, uko na different people. So it is easier to delegate when you have centralization. I will tell you why. But yeah, I think tukipatana, we will, in case there is anything that you have not gotten among these ones, tutazipitia, and then we will do, tutaingia kwa staffing. Aya, sawa sawa. You have a lovely day. We meet on Thursday, tomorrow.